Hey, Einstein, where's the dot, boy? Huh?
Creatives, how are you? Welcome back to the Ned Creative channel. Build the Back to the Future DeLorean, part 14. In this video, we'll be completing issue 40 of the build. Yes, 40. Grab yourself a coffee, sit back, relax and enjoy. The hero of the show is still in shot, is the car. So let's get issue 40 open. So as always, it comes with a magazine and it comes with components. Let's get that open. There's our magazine. Good shot of the rear of the model, and there are our components. We'll put them aside. Let's have a look inside the magazine. So we've got our components for this build. Step-by-step instructions of what we need to do. And we're not quite adding the chassis in just yet. We're adding pedals and things in there, but we're not putting it in place. Biff's back in Back to the Future 2, the original Biff and the old Biff. And from Back to the Future, that's from Back to the Future 2. It's a scene that was never shot in Back to the Future 1. Then we've got Universal Studios backlot, which shows the home of Hill Valley. Then we've got a look ahead at issue 41, center console. So we are starting to move into the interior of the car now. So let's get our components out. It's quite hectic around here, so I'll get all the components out. Move that. Let's move these elements out of the way, and I'll open up our components for this build. Do our admin work. So we've got this piece here. We've got some more screws there. We've got BP screws, and we've got another cable, a yellow cable here, and we've got, looks like a foot pedal. See that? Foot pedal. And another foot pedal there. One will be our brake, one will be our exhaust, and one will be our clutch. There's our third pedal. And we have tabs 1, 2, 3. We've got 4 tabs. One's shorter than the rest of them. And then we have more screws in here. We have, let's see, AP, I think they're AP screws, yes. got our AP screws. So we'll put our screws into our containers. So we'll start off with the AP screws. We've got loads of them. And then we've got BP screws, which are just next to it there. So our screws for this build. Just going to check we've got everything. So we've got this panel here. We've got clutch, gas and brake, them three there. Bracket, I think I dropped that on the floor, you know. Yeah, that's why I like to check. So I dropped that on the floor. It's a bracket. When that plate fell down, so we've got that bracket there, here. And then we got a small tab and three bigger tabs and a spring, which I think I dropped that on the floor as well. Just have a look. Yeah, I think a spring fell on the floor, which I don't know where it is. I'll have to look for it. Just checking that it's not anywhere, not in any of the plastic pieces that I've taken off. Yeah, I'll have to find that spring. And then we have a yellow cable, and then we've got our AP screws and our BP screws. So I'll go and find that spring, and then we can begin. So we've got our screws, we've got our screwdrivers, we've got our components, we're ready to go. Turns out we don't need the star of the show, which is the car, for this section. So we have this panel here, and we have the brake pedal, and we pass the brake pedal. So we've got a hole here, a slit there and a hole there. We pass the brake pedal through there, and then from the other side we need to attach, I did find the spring in there, and what's this called? Pin. Yeah, the pin. So I'm going to get those two out. They dropped on the floor, but luckily they were inside the same bag, so I was actually able to find them. So that's the spring. Put the spring up there. So we need to pass this pin through the hole. See, there's a hole there. So we need to pass it through that hole there, like that. And it needs to push into there. See that? It needs to sit in there like that. And that is how our brake pedal goes. Like that from the front. That's our brake pedal. And then what we need to do is we need to get this which is our bracket, and I need to position it the right way around so it goes in there. Make sure it goes the right way. So it has like a curve there. See, that's a curve, and that sits in there like that. And then we've got to use two AP screws to hold that in place. Just get some screws out. unscrewing that. Of course it's going to do that. Yeah. Let's check that the pin's still in place. Yep. So I'm going to hold that. I'm going to put a screw in there. I have to hold it off the desk because of the brake pedal underneath. Let's get that loosely screwed in place, and then we get the next screw that goes in. It's quite fiddly. I'm just screwing it round just so it gets in place. I'm going to screw that one in as well. Let's tighten this one in. There we go. There's our brake pedal in place, secured in the back with our two AP screws, and we've got to get our little our little spring here. It's got a circle on one side, a closed circle on one side, and a broken circle on the other, as you can see. Let's see if I can get that in focus. There, that's the broken. So we need to turn this over. Checking. So there's a little hole there where this needs to go into. I can do it. There, I've done it. And then that needs to turn around and screw into there with an AP screw. You can see that. So that sits over that hole there. And we put an AP screw in there. Start to turn it, start it off if I can. Yeah, I can't put it on the desk. Just need to hold that in place. see if I can just line everything up, pass it through the spring and feed it into the hole. There we go. Make sure this lines up there. Just get that screwed in place. That's our spring. As you can see, there's the spring. It looped over there and it got screwed in there for our brake pedal to work. The spring does actually move. Just so that's our brake pedal in place. And we've got to insert this pedal in. Although the instructions are calling them all brake pedals, I don't think that's correct. So there's a little, see there's a little square part that fits into that hole there that has a square part. So we just line those two up, get these two pedals in, and they get secured in place by another AP screw. So I'm just going to see if I can start this screw off before I take over with the screwdriver. Make sure that's properly in place. Yeah, it's calling them all brake pedals, but they're not all brake pedals. That's what the instructions are calling them anyway. I assume one's a gas and one's a clutch. Line this up. Oops, it's popped out. I can't set it on the desk because of the pedals. Well, that's our other pedal in place. That one doesn't move. And we got our third pedal to put in, and it's got like a directional there. So we'll get another screw ready. And that fits into that shape, the directional shape there. And we'll put a screw in there. Trying to see where the hole of the screw is. I think it's there. I think it's there. Just make sure that the pedal's in properly. That's in tight there. That's our three pedals in place. One of them moves there. These two stay still. The next thing we need to do is get this wire into the back, and it slots in there. With an AP screw. I'm going to put the screw inside there, like that, and then I'm going to fit it in into the space where it needs to go. Start to screw it in place and just make sure it's fitting in properly. There. These two things need to sit underneath. Place there. And then we need this small piece here. Need to put a AP screw in there. It's another one of our brackets, so we need to put a screw in there. And then we need to feed it through these two here, through there and there, and the screw goes on that side. So the location lug goes in there, and the screw goes in there. There. And the cables just pass through that section there. And then what we need to do is we need to bring this panel back. Let's just zoom in. We need to sit this in place there. And we need to secure it with BP screws, which we need 3 of. We need to turn it over like that to fit that in place. I'll do the middle one first if I can. No, that's not going to work. I'll do the end one first. Okay, do the other end one. and then we'll do the middle one. Doesn't seem to want to go in, but maybe we can turn it on its side now. And then the middle one, done this one, done that one. I'm just going to do the middle one because I've got to tip it up. I can't do it under the camera. Just making sure the screws are tight. So that is putting them two pieces together now, this piece and this piece. Here are our pedals, and then we've got to pass this cable through the middle. Like that. And we've got to secure them in place with these 3 tabs. And we'll be using AP screws. So we need 3 of them. So I'm going to feed a screw through the tab. So the tab goes in there, and the screw goes in the other side. That screw really doesn't want to go in there. Yep. Just need to tighten it up. That's the first one in place. And the screw goes on the same side. Let's feed that between the two, these two. Turn it on its side. And then we've got this final one to put in place. So the cable needs to go through between these 2 columns here. And the screw goes in the same side as the other 2. The directional tab in. There we go. Make sure it's lined up. And when that's in enough, we can turn it on its side. There. This is the interior, the first part of the interior of the car. I suspect in the next issue we could be, although I don't know, we could be putting this inside of the chassis of the car. So we've got our pedals, and that's the interior there. As you can see, that's how it looks when it's done. That completes issue 40 of the build. See that side of it there as well. All the cables passed over and through. We've got merch for the channel. We have Nerd Creative merch and we've got Stay Creative merch. The link's in the description. Get what you want. I'd like to thank you for your company. I'll see you in the next video. Stay creative.
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine out of a DeLorean?